Alright guys, what's going on? I got a lot of people asking for me to explain the gun a little farther. And I knew when I started talking about whether it was a gun or a machine, I was going to get shit stirred up. And sure enough, some of the egotistical professional tattoo artists had to chime in. I got one PM that, God, it was as long as a book, talking about how it's so unprofessional to call it a tattoo gun, and my God, get over yourself, dude. But anyway, one of the biggest questions I got was about the rubber bands, and I've even had people that's come in, they've seen the rubber band and they're ready to leave the tattoo shop because they think I'm an amateur because I've got I got a rubber band on my machine. We put the needle hooks onto this armature bar. That's the piece that goes up and down. There's a tube that we hold on to. It's just a tube with a handle on it. Now, they're usually about that big around. When it's bouncing up and down, when it's going like this, it could go in different directions. The rubber band is to keep it in place, so it only goes up and down, so it doesn't bounce around, doing this number. Because it could go all through that space. And if you're trying to draw a line and it's doing this number, it's not going to be a very straight line. So the rubber band is just to keep the needle bar in one space. That way it just goes up and down and it doesn't travel in any direction other than up and down. Nothing does the job of a rubber band other than a rubber band. I can't think of anything else that could work like a rubber band. It's just to put tension on the needle rod so it goes up and down. Now, when we hook up, this is what it looks like when it's hooked up. You got power coming in here and power going up here. The coils are big electromagnets, and the way it works is the power goes up to this contact point and makes a connection right here. Now when it goes down, the connection is severed, but it's a spring, so it will come back up and make another connection. Now these electromagnetic coils, there's a piece of iron in there and it's wrapped by copper wire. When electricity hits it, it magnetizes it. Now the coils switch on and off. So one will pull it down in the front, then it turns off, and one pulls down on the back side. With the spring being there, that way it keeps contact. This is the basic version. I could get real scientific with it and use a bunch of terms that people don't understand, but it's just a magnet. And it pulls this armature bar down, which is where the needle is hooked up to. And the needle goes down through your tube and goes up and down. Now, there's a little reservoir. Hold on, let me go get a tube. Okay, and now I need a battery. Hold on. Okay, this is what a tube looks like. Now, there's different styles of them, different thicknesses on the grip. I usually like ones that are real big around. The guys joke around that I use orthopedics, but I put a lot of pressure on it. And if I'm using a little skinny one like this, they'll be as skinny as this. My hand will cramp up. So the bigger the grip, the longer I can go. But your tube is made up of a grip, the tube, and then a tip. Now, this is where the ink sets. we've got an ink cap. I put it down, I hit the foot switch. The movement going up and down will suck ink into this little reservoir and hold it. Now, when you tattoo, the needle's going up and down, and gravity will help it come out. Now, it kind of works like when you take in the kitchen, you've cut something with a knife, and then you take your rag and you wipe the knife off. That's kind of what your skin does. It wipes the ink off of the needle. Then it goes back in the reservoir, gets more ink, comes down, and then it wipes it off. Now, granted, it's a lot more technical than that, but I'm trying to keep this so everybody can understand. So this hooks up inside of here, and then you've got a needle bar that hooks up to here and runs up and down inside. Now, if I didn't have that rubber band, it could do this as it's going up and down. So that's the rubber band holds it in place, so it just goes up and down. And then it's held like this. Now, power comes in here and here, and you can see one of the wires goes down into here, and then there's a wire that connects these two. Then the other wire goes through the capacitor right here, comes up to the contact point, makes a connection, comes down, makes a connection, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now we've got a foot switch on the floor that when I hit my foot switch, it puts power to make the connection. Now, if they're out of tune, you might see that little spark right there. I'm not sure if this camera is going to pick it up. There's a little spark. Each time it makes connection and breaks the connection, there'll be a little bit of a spark. And electricity is coming through here, turning one coil on, then the other coil. One coil, then the other. One, then the other. One, then the other. And that just works off of magnetism. And when this coil comes on, it brings the armature bar down, severs the connection here. It only stays on for a hot second, and then it releases. Well, with this being a spring, there's a spring here, and the spring also comes up to make this connection. And it's fast. I mean, it's switching in between these. I mean, fast. Between this magnet hitting the back here and the spring is what keeps it going. Now, when you've got your machine in tune, see how there's as far up as it can go and down as it goes. When it's in tune, you'll see another image in there, and it'll sway back and forth. Kind of like when you watch a car tire, and it's moving like this, and then all of a sudden it starts going backwards. You get that optical illusion. Ceiling fans do it too. Same thing. When this thing's in tune, you can see the bottom of the swing and the top of the swing, and then you'll see another image inside, and it's just waving at you. It looks really cool. I know this camera is not going to pick it up, but that's the basic version. It's just a big magnet, electromagnet, and it turns on and off in between these two to pull this bar down and then pull it down on the back, which helps. And with the spring in line, it keeps it going up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, there's a lot more to it. This is just the basic version. I know I'm going to get some tattoo artist somewhere. You don't know what you're talking about. Da-da-da. And because of the shifting of the moon, you know, whatever. I'm trying to keep this simple so people can follow along. I'm not trying to get scientific and use a bunch of fucking big goddamn words. Alright? It's a big magnet. That's how it runs. Now there's another style called a rotary.